Good afternoon and welcome to a special Formula 1 World Championship in 2026 of Monaco. It's just wanted to win. It is you do still get overtake mode. This is the founder of the race, Anthony, about to attack this racetrack and then house, and we show you the harbour. Crowd are expectant. This is one of the best. 73 Fahrenheit. Delighted once again to have the company
in Monaco every time. I think it's still, I love Formula 1, but I don't always feel down at the chicane. Often on a circuit like this, if you to dialing into the minutiae, if you're playing catch up with your driving, then you're in the wall as well, and it is incredibly easy to do that.
Formula 1, and they do so with a special track. They had all of their yesterday. It was a brilliant scene. Bruce McLaren and their latest car adapting to the sound of turbocharged. Weren't able to show you every single angle, everything we can, every viewpoint. Steep. The climb is out of the foot.
I don't think the pictures will ever do it justice. Bearing in mind the driving, so all you do is just see a tunnel between the barriers, and then you burst out into a quick left. Great corner, brings you into Casino Square and all the rest of the... it is seriously undulating. There is it's huge.
Well, we do have a green light, and we've got a former winner are about to begin their first ever Monaco man who has won. It happens from time to time. They're also racing here. Was close last year to the Norris, got the pole. Lando Norris got the win. Always seems to have slightly more to the racetrack. Wonderful moment for Charles.
Some of his neighbours overhanging the lower speed with his race engineer looking, maybe waving to some more neighbours down there at Mirabeau.
The escape road that Charles Leclerc has comes to the Monaco Grand Prix.
So as we cut to Brock, so we would have seen the car coming to a halt. Was there well, there was late on, but not a massive one there. Of course, the grip level is really low. This is this weekend at least, and for a couple of weeks, as Formula 1 hits the track, and it will just get better.
It's been a bit of an adventure for his first lap past the commentary box position. And 22 cars for the season.
Yeah, they're all crawling. You can see now those two more cars taking part, but they are just going to cluster up the slightly smaller this year, but not by a great deal. It'd be worth checking.
Season and Arvid Lindblad.
Right, well, I want to see an onboard with
halfway through and boot it to rotate the car.
A specific steering rack changes for Monaco, so tight, and it's very difficult.
Charles Leclerc on the pit straight that isn't straight and goes in. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, championship leader by a whopping 40. As we get the early efforts on the...
I can't have enough luck.
William, same feedback.
See how the racing balls are rotating around the hairpin.
The racing balls, if they cannot get around, a pretty major problem for fundamentals of data, loads of historic data for the and through we...
Interesting talking about Lewis Hamilton making...
So you can turn the wheel as much as you need to, and that you used to just take the left hand off at that super low speed, super tight corner steering that you can apply. Hamilton. Verstappen straight on it. That's what I love about this, and it's pushing on as well, and the times just tumble quick.
And who takes a while to work up to it. Light, difficult, but the drivers have the 3 hours, the tradition.
You'll see between Formula 1 drivers all season is the ladies jumps out of the way as well, and there's traffic will play, but commitment, confidence from a driver makes it there, because he's a driver that's won here in the past, able to get the car ahead of a Ferrari, ahead of him, to see the confidence of certain drivers.
Of the swimming pool, you'll see the inside barrack end, a little bit of debris on the circuit, the Verstappen position. Hamilton and Verstappen, the top two, his
more to the slow corners. Actually, I was finishing the race as well, up in the top 5, top 6. Isaac, who will know? Be quick.
Coming off the back of a 5th place. With a former winner around here, Pablo Montoya.
Right quality over the curb. The Mercedes curves is incredible, and they seem to have really good more platform. And through here, the seems going to be better, but it's really amazing.
Who will be rotating through the Nouvelle chicane. Brilliant to his early assessment. Charles Leclerc was asked about no matter what the regulation set, no matter what the era,
It was the case last year, wasn't it? He was beaten right at the end by Lando Norris. One win, but he's always for that lap with some traffic, and will go again extremely low. The track will evolve his hards for probably the entire session if they need to. They would have looked at this from the start of the year and thought, right, just try to hang on against the Mercedes, but
Franco Colapinto is lane which overlooks the swimming pool chicane.
It's in the pit lane. I'm here next to home hero to see the swimming pool chicane as our Monegasque Monaco. What are they? One, how close? Every single rep gets you closer. By the time it basically half an inch is all you can manage, much like with the one and over in turn one. We're going to see over that curb, and the way you can tell watching it so good, and the McLaren is avoiding it. That corner right now is telling us the ranking.
Chicane as he makes his way.
Nice as well, you know, on a fast
Weekend. Ollie Behrman ahead of Esteban Ocon.
It's always difficult to get Ollie Behrman not getting out of the way of Ocon from the team. That's the one driver you've got that has as yet. Love the onboards early on. It looks quick over the chicane. If it was a small one. Well, we're talking about this stretch here. When you go up the hill, that's just accelerating. Look at the car running stiff there. The lap is, I mean, you're basically coming downhill. Well, chicane. There's a little drop into the with Isaac.
Very hair-raising moment in the tunnel a couple of years. Car, pure instinct, and avoid for the single-seater races around. New livery for Aston Martin. Lance Stroll comes past Aston Martin, but rotating around the final, sceptical about the gearbox lasting. Tried to go to the press conference and speak to Tom Clarkson. If you wonder how that works, that never used to be the case, but the driver strong results here, but he's never won in any category. Race finisher in the World Championship will be hoping to turn the tables. Qualifying, first time that we dipped under the 2026.
That extraordinary trying to find something with around this circuit. There's too many corners. There's not enough straights. Say that you can't anywhere else. What you're going to do when you put that part on the car to the garage, take some photos, do some and correlate that to what they thought on.
It is a fascinating
about this for some time actually. But when where you have that free bit of bodywork that's supposed to be the shroud, have to have these actuators on the cars. Well, going to take on the front wing as well, and that can shift the weight too. Well, let's put another wing on the rear wing, and the lead set by Alpine, who were the first races now. But nothing as elaborate as the middle of this sort of stuff, and there's a lot more to come, I think.
Like a rear wing, but then centre part have attached to them. The Mercedes one was like I'd call it a
of the swimming pool. Franco Colapinto then finds it from the visor cam, the acknowledgement from Charles Nelly in second, our championship leader. Then
as potential favourites for this race, nicely up as well by nearly 4/10. Can he keep it through? He may well steer clear of him. He's actually closing so much. This is a man that could single lap in the Cadillac. They're both on fast laps, even though Bottas is pushing flat out in a Cadillac.
Over the runoff at the timing page, you're looking at the Principality area, and we make our way up the hill. Where there it is, there is the square of Casino Square. They go deep earlier on, and then this used to be many names through the years. Once upon a harbour, Port Hercule.
Go. You should do that if you ever.
And this is the start line where Ayrton Senna in the Indy 500, lifetime Monaco Grand Prix winner Graham Hill. Achieved it. I wouldn't dug out the race report. It's a remarkable thing that he achieved.
That little like a plastic slippery surface sign or something that was. But my word, Leclerc is quickest by half a second. As much as possible to try and find some traction. Less than 1 minute 15 for the lap already. That'll get hours of practice as well, and then we go through qualifying.
Bored than in real life?
Yes. You have a moment of startle. I never felt that. And I think you're an aggressive lap. He's on the fastest middle sector. He was sliding there at the moment. Good news for Perez. But yeah, the human. So it's dark in the
Tight. That is Lewis Hamilton in second place with Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hello, and one of the season to communicate both to your drivers, and you can see it really nicely in this Haas garage, it is the other side. Now that's because we've just basically run out going on. The eye contact between your garage, but then they can't see what's going on up top. And I believe it's because of that quirky little tyre set. That is important because you don't know of tyre sets. Why is that important? Why are we seeing in Ricardo's race in 2016? The unique challenge, not just for the driver.
Good, a yellow flag in the ready because they're at the back of the gap to the pit lane position in time. It is a unique logistical challenge for facing the yellow flag in the first part of the tyre. He is the highest runner on the bailing out.
Yeah, pushing into a flying lap. Have you got your front tyres with your peak pressure? Normally you come in, there's not enough grip. There's too many bump advantage of the aerodynamics on the car. Dead. Now, surely quick Max was out of the box. He'd set the fastest lap, ends up destroying them quicker than actually wearing the rubber, actually just damaged the tyre as he's trying to are still finding time on their early sets.
As we go on board with Kimi Antonelli, the slippery surf. And Antonelli, the Formula One World Championship, and he finds as we check in on the Alpine, and potentially we've got debris on the circuit.
Russell only did a short run on the. He's on now in third. A couple of laps to get to their best. Single angle through the Nouvelle chicane for any level of traction. Get it, so you can see drivers clearly working over the limit of grip.
And for Gabriel Bortoleto, who's been running the hards, he's done
that. Looked a handful.
Cover that for the moment. It's not directly pre in 2022. Now we get.
Should be very quick. Equipped with some.
Enjoyed yesterday seeing the marshals practice.
Pretty much perfect from Leclerc, and he's going to honk it into the wall. Liverpool, that part is the easiest to crash now, really difficult, and the time gain or loss is close to it as possible, or you're going to be playing slow.
Halfway stage, as you look.
And this is a very special, very unique. Why is it unique? Well, you can't see the other end down to our newcomers in the 11th one, as we see if you angle it like this way, it helps position here. Championship leaders, of course, they get to a year in the race. Because overtaking is so, pit stops matter, and we do more pit stops. It's shortest of the year, but it is much.
This for Kimi Antonelli, he's got the medium tyre.
To match his best on the hard, and this one's going to Springs are out there on a medium as well, so we will see. Is he going to wind up for one on this tepid lap? No, he's winding one up here, so on that medium tyre, and just sort of
as described by Jolyon Palmer on the rear wing. Here he comes. Negotiate.
You maybe see the Poodle more at low speed. The Fairmont Hotel down into the low speed.
Pablo.
The level of the good guys is incredible. It was, I mean, and a second ago, Norris, they're committed. You can always make lap time, but good, so watch out all weekend.
You can put your nose on the fence for a bit. Speed and then nearly dropping it on the exit.
Of a second later, turns in and has nothing left that corner, and it meant that we didn't see a prop.
George Russell, second in the Monaco Grand Prix. There's a time good enough again on the hard tyre. He's dropped it into the wall. This session goes beyond the limit. Hadjar brings out our first red flag. Pro, and his session is done.
Similar moment to Norris. Norris was on a much range, and he just doesn't gather it up. Really, initially on the first here for Hadjar, and that is a lot of.
They're going to be called into action. Ruth was telling you the session he was not close to the barriers in the same way.
The on board here, so he turns.
I understand.
So it's a very similar. Wonder if there's been a wind change direction or something. But yeah, it has been. Everything just goes light, and you have it quickly on him as well. So it's for a biggie. It's quick around this circuit as well.
Yeah, he was downright sensational on debut. Starting position for the Faenza-based team. They've been known last year, not off six. We thank all of the marshals who take such pride. But the car has been immediate. He's hit the wall, which is down there. He's gone up
this circuit. There's plenty of lap time in there. Found himself with, but it was the finding a bit of pace through the apexes, able to catch it on that first moment of
half a second quicker than George Russell, and here in his F2 championship year, trick efforts that he had when he had
you.
I would love it.
Because I feel like you're teeing me up here. Oof. My stats are going to turn into a quiz here.
The edge of the drivers. That it might be a little. Did you see me buy myself some time?
Yeah,
that was
full marks.
That's why I bought the time.
Here.
Wow.
It was Valtteri Bottas. You had Lewis Hamilton. It was really costly for him at the time in the 21 season.
Man, that's a real-time replay.
I hope he's all right.
I reckon that's on. Yeah.
Pole got knocked. Yeah, only once in the last 10 years joins Mercedes in 22. They've not had a car. For George is a little bit tough because great opportunity for them coming here with what's Hamilton 2-1 in their time here. Our qualify hasn't been good. It wasn't competitive at other places, and then he didn't win because in 20 race as well.
Okay, you, Alex.
a cruel one for Hadjar. The swimming pool is try and go no option but to go full on over the curve. The swimming pool, because he actually loses it, so emitting too much speed to the first part. Recovery of energy is really affecting him in the braking on for Hadjar. That's going to cost him the gather from the other side of the garage as FP continues.
And our man in the studio going over the... we've had a bit of a delay for the crash of to have your company. We've got 16 minutes to go with these low-pace simulations, these low-fuel rest of the weekend. So a good P1.
Mercedes as well. Half a red flag stoppage, so not the cleanest. The McLaren, one flying lap for him on the meet, but didn't put a lap time on the board. But presumably McLaren, we have a soft on a Cadillac.
Around total nonsense, cleared them up, and Valtteri Bottas, you were talking about him. Can't remember happening really at any time. Hours it took to remove that wheel from the Mercedes.
That's around Monaco then. Let's have a look at this. It's a little bit snappy on traction, doesn't it? You noted it coming out of through the tunnel as well. Whoa! Obviously Hadjar with a crash at higher speed for Valtteri. Just looks like he's missing confidence and he backs off.
Cadillac for us.
A similar observation, and the car, but especially up mass into a sort of semi-porpoise frequency. Perez did a relatively creditable lap in it and continues to. We look over the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. I'm going no specific geographical reason for that. I just always.
North Media and Technology Centre in the UK. Some still getting their eye in earlier on in the centre, rotate the car through the hairpin.
Still out there in the racing bulls.
His engineer.
Breaks and entries to corners, but I'm happy.
Video, Alex Albon has reported an issue with the around this circuit in recent times. Scoring
so close to that barrier on the entry. I'm sure of a Formula 1 car will just take you past it. Or mediums for Verstappen as he enters the jump back on the gas for a loads more rear grip, confidence on the throttle.
Over the Nouvelle chicane. That isn't very new.
Still Nouvelle in my eyes. More recent times.
Yeah, used to be for runoff.
So for our French listeners, is it
and checking in the mirrors that he was able to rejoin of the swimming pool. Oh, Hulkenberg.
This year, from this is FP1. We knew that these cars were going to be third, sensible time overall. Couldn't match his downforce. Equals a lot of fun around Monaco, and drivers that will catch your attention around a place like
Silverstone and the high-speed stuff. Really cumbersome, and the director to enjoy that in the early set. Tomorrow, and then a qualifying set. The grid for the Monaco Grand Prix, and we go over the line.
I want to see what Ferraris can do on a... Hamilton is sweeping through in the final sector. Here I'll throw my hat into the ring for that as well.
You've been saying this.
Medium tyres on. Ferrari looking hasn't then at this stage. And he improves the time, but he's still there.
Who had to bail out of the lap at this corner. With Ferrari, Charles Leclerc trying to win fastest sector 2.
Look, really on the throttle. Here we come to the 2 on the mediums. Track's getting better, and Mercedes had, but it's more encouraged.
Last year, whether he expected to be in the fight for the win. Second last year. Favourites benchmark of a 1:13.9 through history.
Big juicy weekend in Canada, and he is, and he will be
on and finding nightmare fuel for Q1. That is not what for the winner of the Grand Prix 1 year ago.
See what it looks like with Lando Norris heading towards faster turns. Sweeps around, dancing on the rear end as well through the first part of the swimming pool. Norris. Be some frills here, and then give some gesticulation.
A few moments ago, brush.
Joined him again, oversteering towards that a study of understeering, just simple like that.
Given the state of the 2 cameras that we've got, the second Hulkenberg through to back. Love this corner, iconic. Been causing all the trouble. He's safely through. Just saw from Arvid Lindblad. What caught your attention?
Team that one. He was told that Piastri had a ball to back. I've also been trying to work out
that is correct. We've got more debris on.
Ladies. Looks like a bit of Aston to me.
Well, I think Charles Leclerc might be the culprit because he was.
Alex Brundle, congratulations. He is damaged for Fernando Alonso, and with the winner of this Grand Prix.
Holy macaroni! That was resurfaced and over the bump, and then takes some downshift with just a slightly damaged front wing. My word!
Fumble around for reverse.
Where you can run through, but obviously not when you're the limit of the front braking anywhere around this place. You try these sort of things and you know you've got the margin to escape.
Final 2 minutes. Practice for Red Bull could have been a reminiscent of a crash that DC into the Armco. DC with us.
Yeah, plenty have had that accident. Alba took himself up and be the place of famously wiped out a poor Adrian Sutil from a classic one to be wary of, and then some maybe sudden down out of the day. But he's
the green light is on once again at the end of the. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, as many people's favourites, significant for both drivers, and would try it in China when it was corner after corner. For both this weekend, considering how it is the street circuit above all, the way down to Mirabeau. I did a hot lap with Luke, and I can see why they have to. So, okay, it's been an eventful session. Ferrari 1-2, Charles Leclerc ahead of Luke Hulkenberg, Piastri, Borgletto and Gasly. Corner, we saw that the team visiting the pit lane, so the steering shack in the garage. Everyone we've seen after 1 hour of practice.
Their credentials around this circuit. Happy with a couple of laps on the medium. Switched the second up on Russell. So that is, and Verstappen looks good as well in the mix. I want to see a bit more from
who didn't seem to be able to push on so far.
They must be holding
some light. They don't tend to take a great view of racetrack where you definitely do not want. Charles Leclerc has topped the first. Similar comparison between the two a little bit, and he finds himself McLaren holding 1,000. Incredible landmark to get.
Good session for Audi further back. How that car looked awful.
It went red as I crossed it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's got justification for that. I think he's also himself and Racing Bulls. The car looked horrible when we joined it for a solitary lap times then on the medium tyre. And you're going to find armfuls of understeer. So you always want to get more grip and you pick up more.
With a strong second. His best result in a Grand Prix for the team. Last time he got by for second place. Side of the garage. That means that here, the director